Here is apparently Donald Trump in a newly released recording of an interview with Bob Woodward talking about COVID-19 pandemic on March 19th. Do we have the audio?
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Let's play this audio. So here's the point. You know, Joe Biden is benefiting from Donald Trump's failure to deal with COVID in a sane manner, not even in a competent manner, like in a sane manner. But down the road, 2022, 2024, we're not going to have that opportunity. Here's Donald Trump talking to Bob Woodward, apparently on tape. And this is in March 19th. They closed down. We went into lockdown, at least in New York, on March, I think it was 16th or 13th.
Now it's turning out it's not just old people, Bob. Just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just older.
Yeah, exactly.
Young people, to plenty of young people.
So
what's going on
give me a moment of talking to somebody, going through this with Fauci or somebody who kind of it caused a pivot in your mind, because it's clear just from what's on the public record that you went through a pivot on this to, oh my God, the gravity is almost inexplicable and unexplainable.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
because I don't want to create a panic.
What would happen during that panic? Everybody runs for the exits?
They stop working.
They stop working. He doesn't. And when he says a panic, understand what he's talking about. He's talking about.
Stop liking me.
He's talking about the stock market. There is no version of panic that affects the general population. What does that look like? You know, he's worried about panic sell-off of the stock market. That's what he's talking about. I wonder if there's just going to be a series of these things that are going to drop. And the reason why the timing of this is also, and Bob Woodward obviously has the audio. He may see it, but the opportunity, who knows? I hope that there's a little bit more coordination about this, but whatever. Bottom line is now, they don't have a chance to really stay on he didn't say they were suckers and losers. And that's just going to sit there and marinate in the minds of people who were offended by that. So that's going to hurt Donald Trump too. COVID is going to be the thing that he just simply can't recover from. And the fact that there's been a complete absence of dealing with healthcare. And I don't, the Democrats, I worry about 2022 if they don't come into office and deal with healthcare. This should have been something that should have been dealt with the past 4 years, or maybe by now. I mean, Joe Biden's going to get into office and it's going to be climate change. It's my guess. You're going to see voting rights are going to be restored. You're going to see, and then you're going to see climate change. And obviously it's a huge, urgent need, but people also have a need right now for healthcare. And that has to be addressed. That has to be addressed. Let's hear Michael Cohen. He was on Rachel Maddow. And then we'll go into the fun half. This is an interesting theory that Michael Cohen has about Donald Trump and what he will do if he loses the election. I don't know if he can get, well, here, let's play this clip.
With you, I don't understand it.
The president is at least, though, named as individual one by prosecutors. And you, in your allocution, made very clear what you just made here in terms of the fact that this was directed by him for his benefit, and you were acting out his wishes. And so he's therefore the most culpable person. You make a point as almost the very last thing you say in the book, which I wanted to ask you about because I think it may relate to this. President's named as individual one. You went to prison for those felonies. He's clearly the person who directed the commission of those felonies. But you say at the very end of the book that the president and Attorney General William Barr ousted the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York and tried to install effectively the president's golfing buddy as the new U.S. attorney there because the president, in your view, wanted to arrange for himself to be indicted while he's still in office, because that would give him the opportunity to pardon himself after he lost the election. I just wanted to make sure that I understand the point that you're making there. Just ask you to elaborate on that a little bit, because I'm not sure I understand.
My theory is that if he loses, there's still the time between the election and the time that the next president would take office. And during that time, my suspicion is that he will resign as president. He will allow Mike Pence to take over, and he will then go ahead and have Mike Pence pardon him. And it's a very, let's just say, it's a very Nixon type of event. And it was probably discussed between Roger Stone and President Trump at some point, that this is certainly one way to avoid any potential prison time.
I suppose if he was going to do something like that, he could arrange for the type of pardon that Nixon, in fact, got, where Nixon hadn't been charged with anything. It was a prospective pardon that he basically arranged from Ford so as to make sure that he'd never be indicted after he left office. I suppose that same sort of arrangement could apply there, even if he wasn't, in fact, charged.
Though we have to remember that it doesn't apply to state charges, nor does it apply to the charges that will be brought.
Yeah. I don't buy it. I think there is something too, and I think that was my sense at the time as to why Barr wanted to get his guy in at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District. They wanted to wrap up a lot of these investigations. I don't know if it was about Trump, but I think they wanted to wrap up a lot of these investigations, get them teed up for a potential pardon that could not be undone at that point. Get them, make a plea deal, wrap up these investigations, and so that there's no loose ends for anybody to pursue following Trump. But I don't know. I mean, do you guys think that that Mike Pence would do that?
Yeah, it seems. I mean, I think Pence is a good soul, but I think he's too much out for Mike Pence at that point.
Right, of course.
Like what?
I think Pence is just like, I'm sorry, like as soon as Trump loses, Pence is going to be virtually unreachable by phone. I think. I think he's just going to be, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President. I'm really upset. I'm devastated by this. I'm back in Indiana and I'm just trying to nurse my wounds. I can't possibly do this. I don't buy it.